What's up, y'all? And thank you for joining me for another show, episode, video, everyone call it, with yours truly. So, we got a little something to discuss involving your boy 50 Cent, Daphne Joy, Sly, Slade, Diggler. I don't really know. And your diddler, Diddy. So anyway, 50 Cent is saying that his son is the real victim in this alleged Diddy and Daphne tape leaking situation. And honestly, he might have a point. But let's not act like 50 is totally in the right and he's totally innocent, okay? His hands are not clean either because the history between him and Daphne has been very, very messy. All right, y'all. So before we get into all of this situation ship and all this stuff, let me be very clear, okay? Everything I'm talking about is alleged, okay? Based on reports, lawsuits, public statements, social media reactions, all that type of stuff. I'm not saying anything in this video is confirmed unless, it has already been confirmed publicly. Now, with all that being said, 50 Cent is saying that his son once again is the victim, okay? That I'm sure y'all all have seen it, heard about it, the video with, supposedly with Diddy, Daphne Joy, and the other folks, Sly Diggler or Slay Diggler. I'm just gonna call him Diggler, child. We're not gonna mess with all the first names and stuff, okay? But here's my issue with this whole little thing, okay? 50 is trying to say, hands are clear, he's, the good parent, he's, protecting his child. But let's not forget, he also has his own history of allegations, which some of them involve Daphne. Okay. So to me, he's not actually trying to be a concerned parent. Okay. He's just seems like he's on this revenge tour to get back at folks and all this type of stuff, and he's bringing his son in, which is ridiculous. Okay, because at the end of the day, his son may be affected, but 50 is making this way more public than it actually needs to be, in my opinion. And at the end of the day, everybody is trying to win this public argument and the court of public opinion and all this type of stuff. But at the end of the day, like I said before, the child is the one that's losing. So let's talk about it. So, like I said before, the story starts with this alleged video leaking, is circulating the internet. It involves those three folks I mentioned earlier. And I'm gonna say alleged about a million times in the video, so y'all just gonna have to get used to it because I'm not getting sued, okay, at all. So I'm not gonna show the video. I'm not linking the video. I'm not going into graphic detail. We are just kind of doing a quick overview, hot take of this whole little situation, okay? Because that's not really the whole point, the video leak and all that type of stuff. That's not the point I'm trying to get to, okay? I don't really care nothing about all that. But once the alleged, clip leaked and started making its rounds, people connected it back to the Slay Diggler in his past interview with DJ Vlad, right? And DJ Vlad, that's a whole nother situation. We're gonna have to make that's a whole separate video. But anyway, let's get back to the topic, okay? Um, where they did a whole interview where he's talking about the alleged encounter involving Diddy and Daphne. And now DJ Vlad is claiming that this alleged footage lines up with kind of what Slay previously told him. And so of course the internet, they ran with that. They're hooping and hollering, this is this and that, drama, drama, drama. Because everybody knows once Diddy kind of is added to the story, everybody knows Diddy's situation. I don't need to explain it. And then you got 50 Cent in there, and then you got Daphne Joy, and you got a tape, and now you got custody drama. attached to it, it just blows up like gasoline and matches. Okay.
Cause the boy had your baby mama over there. Oh yeah. Uh, Playing foosball with her. That's the foosball machine with the two. All them one men. Ain't that the thing? You spin them in the soccer man spin. Yeah, he had your baby mama over there playing foosball with the little boy in there watching a big screen TV.
Now let's kind of go back, okay, because to 2024, I had to do a little research on this because back apparently in 2024, right? Um, it didn't start with the alleged tape. So back in 2024, like I said before, um, Daphne Joy's name has already been brought up, in the Diddy situation. When she was named with Rodney, or Lil Rod is what they call him, in the lawsuit against Diddy and his lawsuit against Diddy. So the lawsuit included allegations about Diddy paying women monthly stipends. Daphne, of course, denied those claims, and she pushed back on like the label of being labeled a sex worker. And let me get something straight. Let me just get this clear. I don't have anything. There's nothing. I have nothing against a sex worker child. If somebody wants to sell what they mama or daddy gave them, let them do what they do. Okay. So there, I just want to get that straight. I don't. There's nothing wrong with being a sex worker or doing sex work. Okay. But once her name got brought into the lawsuit, reportedly 50 Cent started to, seek sole custody of their son. I'm not gonna mention the son's name because I don't think that's really necessary. Everybody knows the situation. Okay. So this whole custody conversation had already been sitting in the background. But when this tape came about, it all got brought to the forefront. Okay. Um, Now, the alleged video situation comes, and 50 Cent is basically saying, see, this is why I'm so concerned, in the courts. This is why I'm so concerned. And I get that. As a parent, you have a right to be concerned. 50 Cent is just not in the clear on this, okay? He's not in clear on this. He has had plenty of public things going on, allegations, um, and so if she's so unsafe for doing this, what does it make him? I mean, wouldn't that make him unsafe as well? And should he even have custody of his own son? You know what I mean? So we got 50's message. Okay, I'm just gonna sum it up. 50's message is basically Daphne is not the victim, his son is. We get that. I got that. And I agree to an extent. But when adult drama becomes public, the child is usually the one that deals with the embarrassment. The adults can post, they can deny, they control, which 50 Cent does a lot. He's notorious for that. They can sue, they can explain, they can delete the shit, and move on. Okay. But the child has to be the one to ultimately deal with it. I mean, think about it. They have to go to school, they have to deal with classmates, teachers, and other peers about these headlines. Okay. And I don't know about you, but if I would have been in the same situation that his son is right now, I would have been so embarrassed. I'm sure his classmates are talking about it because I'm sure their parents have said things about it. And it's just not a good situation to put any child through, period, point blank. Whether one parent is right, one parent's wrong, vice versa, it doesn't matter. Okay. And here's why I'm side eyeing this whole situation in him. Okay. If the goal is really to protect your son, which he says that's what his goal is, why keep making it louder online? I understand that, he's a public figure, things are going to get reported, but you do not have to go and amplify the whole situation, okay, with your shenanigans that we know he does, okay? So to me, like I said before, 50 is not trying to protect his child for real. Maybe that might be his third or fourth intention, but it's definitely not his first intention, okay? Um, and if he was, he's taking the very scenic route, if you know what I mean. Okay. He's pass and go, collect $2 here, paying $2 there, collected rent off that, and then he's getting to the situation. Okay. Um, in my opinion, he's just trying to embarrass Daphne and Diddy. Okay. He wants to make whatever situation they got, you know, worse. In Diddy's case, he want to make his situation worse, him look worse in the public eye, worse than he already does. And he wants to basically ruin Daphne's reputation, okay, in order to, he says, get his sons, away from all that, okay? Um, so let's get to the point, back to the point where 50 Cent is not clean either in this situation. Okay. Now, 50 is pointing at Daphne. People are also bringing up his own past, okay, with her. So back in 2013, 50 Cent was charged after Daphne accused him of attacking her, damaging property. And of course, he denied the domestic violence allegations, but he pleaded guilty. Okay. And later, he took a plea deal where he was charged with domestic violence. The charges were dropped, blah, 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 blah. And then in 2024, Daphne made an Instagram statement accusing 50 of physical and sexual abuse again. Okay. So, of course, he denied these claims. So, he also sued her for defamation, but the lawsuit was later dropped, yada yada yada. They have a lot of issues going on. Now, I don't know if what she said happened or not, but I'm in the habit of believing the victim first. We believe the victim first around here, no matter what. Okay. Until proven otherwise, her statements were true, in my opinion. Okay. That's what I believe. Okay. So, this is why I can't like sit here and be like, 50 is cleaning the situation. He's just a concerned parent, and Daphne is just awful. She's the messy one and all that type of stuff. No, no, no. We're not doing that around here. Okay. It's a mess on both of their sides. I mean, there are allegations, there's lawsuits, there's knives, there's trolling, there's custody drama. I mean, all this stuff, and right in the middle of it, nobody is thinking about the child, considering the child. And it's just too much. Y'all both need to sit down, stop, and just chill out. That's the problem with these celebrities. They can't stay off the internet. Stay off the internet, okay? Because you at the end of the day, you involving, especially when you're involving a child and grown folks conversation. You ever mama, your parents ever tell you stay out of grown folks conversations? Yeah. Keep the child out of grown folks' conversations, okay? So, my real opinion on kind of this whole situation is I don't think 50 is any better than Daphne, okay? When it comes to how public he has made everything and this situation has become, Daphne has been connected to Diddy's situation is just a mess, okay? It doesn't look good. But also 50 situations don't look good for perpetuating this whole situation, dragging it on, shedding light onto it. That also does not look good. And like I said, I understand concerned parents and all this stuff and their effect, and he's worried about potentially, I don't know, I guess that's what he says, the effects that it could have on their child. But you're also using social media as a weapon, as a tool, you know, to a tool to get back or to get custody or whatever he's using it for in his mind. And it's becoming like an entertainment, like for shits and giggles, clicks and views, okay, likes and dislikes. He trolls, he provokes, he makes jokes, and he turns, you know, people's downfall into content. I mean, if that's what you're trying to do, that's fine, but when it involves your son, you shouldn't do it, and that's your son's mother. I mean, that at the end of the day, that's your son's mother. You should have more respect, even if you don't have respect for your baby's mother. You should have respect for enough for your son to not do his mother like that. Period. In my opinion. So when he says that his son is a victim, I believe there's truth in that. Okay. But I also believe that 50 is using situation in his favor. Both things can be true at the same time at the end of the day. Okay. He can. believe that it's wrong for his son, but he can also be using it to get revenge on his baby mama. Okay. And Diddy at the same time, because we know they don't like each other. So let's get to the Diddy part. Okay. Diddy the diddler. Okay. So here we have Diddy, okay? Because all of this is happening while Diddy is, already surrounded by, legal issues, allegations, some of them not so much allegations anymore, proven fact, but I'll let y'all decide what's not and what ain't, okay? And I don't know about y'all, but it feels like the longer Diddy is incarcerated and fighting these cases, the more shit just keeps getting unrevealed. I mean, like things are resurfacing, old relationships are resurfacing, being re-examined by the public, by the courts. It just keeps getting worse. It seems like every couple of months. There's something new about Diddy and this happening and that happening and this happening and that happening. Child. Because let's be honest, if the video did not involve Diddy, it probably wouldn't even be a thing. It would have been gone the next week out of the news cycle. Okay. Um, but at this point, I'm tired of talking about Diddy, the diddler. I don't want to talk about him no more. So let's move on. Let's get to the real point. Okay. The child is paying for this at the end of the freaking day. And that is the saddest part. You gotta, because adults, they make their own choices. Okay. They get into relationships, they file lawsuits, they post online, they do all the bullshit that adults do, the drama. Okay. But people are laughing at his mom, the child, speaking from the child's point of view, the people are laughing at his mama, his daddy, the whole situation. They're dragging him and all, and he's the one that got to deal with this. And then what or not people don't understand about this? That's some the problem with these celebrities. Like, let's be realistic. Let's think about your child, your kids at a certain point. Okay, let's think about your kids because you being grown, doing your grown things, and then the child has to is the one that has to carry most of the consequences of your actions. Child, they gotta deal with your mess, and they ain't even you know they ain't even celebrities. So, but you dragging them into this. Child, this whole situation just got my blood boiling. But let's go ahead and bring this to the close. Okay. So basically, I want to kind of sum up my final thoughts on this. Okay. Do I think that 50 Cent has a point when he says his son is a victim? Yes, I do think he has a point. Okay. Because the child is the one that has to deal with the embarrassment and headlines and jokes and all that type of stuff. Okay. But do I think that he is completely innocent? No, hell no, because he's contributing to those jokes, those things that are going on that child has to endure as well. So hell no, he ain't innocent and he ain't right. Okay. And the fact that he's using this to strengthen his case against why he should Daphne as why he should get full custody of his son to me is bullshit. And you better hope your son don't end up hating you at the end of the day, because that ain't cute. It ain't cute. Okay. If his goal is really to protect his child, he needs to leave this shit out of the public. Leave the shit off Instagram, leave the shit off Twitter, leave all the shit off all the social medias, okay? Public embarrassment is no bueno. No bueno, especially for kids that had to already dealing with a lot, going through puberty and all the other things that kids got to deal with in school as it is. So, y'all let me know what y'all think about this in the comments. Um, is 50 Cent, do y'all think 50 Cent is protecting his child or is he using the situation to get back at Daphne and Diddy? Drop your thoughts and comments below. And of course, if you like the video, go ahead and tap that button, okay? That like button, and of course, tap that other button, that subscribe button. Uh, but anyway, I'm Jay. This is Side Eye with Jay, and I will see y'all on the next one. Peace.